Hi there, welcome to I Alone Fly Tarot. I'm going to do a tarot card reading for Gemini energy. And like usual, we're going to read it from a couple different perspectives because everybody's somewhere on the spectrum of having learned lessons in life. And some people in their Gemini energy could be more shadowy. They could be, be immature, bossy, controlling, defensive, immature, the whole spectrum. Some people are still just more caught up in the world, and that's kind of what drives and motivates them. Other people are more motivated by love, have maybe learned how to be more balanced within themselves and temper their ego nature and their more immature worldly nature, and have more hope and faith and belief that there's more to work with in the world than just the things of the world, and want a more balanced life. We all want some of these things of the world, but high vibe people also want truth and love and justice and fairness, and some people are willing to sacrifice those things to make it more about themselves or to get those things of the world that they want. So we all tap into Gemini energy, which is about our dualistic nature and what our truth is and what we love and what we think is we want to invest our time, energy, and effort into. Just depends on what our truth is. And Gemini is air sign energy of the mind about, again, our dualistic nature. And everybody's got the free will to align within themselves with their more worldly, shadowy nature or their more hopeful, believing, loving nature. And we just need to listen to our intuition about who's who. Well, I view this card as the overarching reason for the reading, which expectation card can be. The feminine figures can talk about how we think and feel. The masculine figures can represent how we're presenting ourselves in the world and action that we're taking. We all like to kind of stay in our comfort zone, because if we were to move forward in life, we kind of have to face our fears, which is what the devil can represent. Kind of in a way, we'd all like to deal with the devil we know than the devil we don't know. And that's why we kind of like to stay in our comfort zone. And even if we're in a job or a friendship or relationship that we could be unhappy with, we keep hoping like other people change. And high vibe energy is dealing with the truth, which we might have wanted to turn our back to, that if we keep moving forward, sometimes in some relationships, it's an unhealthy relationship. We can always hope other people will change, but if those people aren't growing or healing or maturing themselves or being more just and fair or something, there comes a time where we need to face our own fears. And then we have the High Honor card, being inspired to overcome our fears, to keep moving forward, believing in ourselves, giving ourselves the things that we wish other people would have given us, not letting our fears and our insecurities or other people who aren't working together with us to move forward in a more authentic, loving, just, fair relationship. Then we need to overcome our own fears to keep moving forward in that energy and believing the divine has a plan for our life, right? So let's go see what's going on in Gemini energy. We have the Five of Pentacles, the Courthouse, and the Clover card. And the reason that came out is because of the Ship card. This is Aries energy. And Aries energy is about the self, and everybody within themselves kind of has this dualistic nature within themselves. Do we align? The Poverty card is kind of like the Five of Pentacles, which is Taurus energy, which has to do with our philosophy of life. Are we more aligned with the world, more motivated and inspired by the world? Fire sign energy being what we're motivated and inspired by. Are we still more motivated and inspired by our worldly view of life or about ourselves? Is that what we think we should take action towards? Because that's how we think we'll get justice in the world? The Clover card is Sagittarius energy, which is also fire sign energy. In shadow, it can be kind of indulging our more immature nature. Basically, we got lessons learned. And there could be some people in your life right now that are still more motivated and inspired. They have a way of viewing life, a way of viewing themselves, a way of viewing others, a way about working together with others in relationships and workplaces and friendships, and how they view relationships and how they view the world. And so long as that's their truth and what they're more motivated and inspired by, they're going to keep taking action towards those things because they're sure that those things are the answer to them being happy. If I feel left out in the cold and I want to feel more balanced within myself, let's go get in a relationship to feel better, or let's go drink this or eat this, or, High vibe Sagittarius is about higher learning and education. And we'll all keep repeating an old pattern because it's in our comfort zone and we're sure that's going to make us happy. And we do it over and over and over till we start to see the poverty card can kind of be feeling left out in the cold, right? This isn't moving forward the way I thought it was going to move forward. Are we, shadowy energy is being kind of in our ego? Are we willing to get out of our ego? And these ideas we had, the courtroom with the scales of justice there is Libra energy, air sign energy again. We think we know what we're doing. We think these things we want to go pursue and indulge in, that those are the answer, that's the truth. I'm going to keep pursuing those things or doing those things because I'm sure that will make me happy. But if we keep pursuing those things and we keep feeling left out in the cold from getting the justice that we thought we were going to get, are we willing to get out of our more thinking we're the boss or that we can control things, or hoping other people will change? Because with this card being like the Five of Pentacles, the fives are about change. We can keep hoping other people get inspired to get more balance within themselves, to be more bold and brave and confident. But if they keep turning their back on being more just and fair, balanced, it might be because that isn't what motivates and inspires them to be more just or fair or balanced. Some people are kind of shadowy. Taurus can be stubborn. Shadowy Aries, which anyone can harness these zodiac sign. We all harness all the zodiac sign traits and characteristics in a more high vibe way, a more worldly way, or a more shadowy way. And there's some people that are like, I don't even want to be just and fair. I'm not inspired to be just and fair. I'm more about myself. That is my philosophy of life, and I think that's just and fair to be more about myself, and that's what I'm going to keep doing. Other people are more motivated in their Taurus and Aries energy and Gemini energy. I'm more motivated by the world. I want to have a certain status and image in the world, or power, or influence, or money, or something. I'm sure if I have those things, I'll be happy. And they keep thinking that is just and fair, and that it maybe isn't working yet, but they keep thinking, I'm sure it'll work. And that's what they keep taking action towards. Other people in the world, they were motivated and inspired by some of those things too. They could have made their life more about those things, but they were inspired to kind of see the truth. High vibe Sagittarius, higher learning and education, wanting to wrap their brain around this game of life because it hasn't been working the way they thought it was going to work. Some people are very just, fair, balanced, loving people, and they don't understand why other people aren't. And they think, well, love is the answer, right? I'll go be loving and encouraging and supportive to someone who doesn't maybe love and believe in themselves. But we can't change other people. We can offer love and encouragement and support to other people, but they have to make that free will decision within themselves. It takes work and effort to get yourself balanced. Taurus is our sign energy, investing time, energy, and effort. Is that part? Some people don't think that's their job. I don't have to put in work and effort to get more balanced within myself. I'll wait till someone wants to come take action towards me or get in a relationship with me. Then my life will all be better. Or that person should be loving and encouraging and balanced, and then I'll get in a relationship with them. That's how I'll get more balanced out. So some people look to people they get in relationships with, like some people could look to drugs or alcohol or food or gambling or whatever, money, sex, to be the answer for them. But if you get in a relationship with someone like that who's looking to you to be the answer to all their problems, well, they still have their issues, their fear, their insecurity, their pride, their ego. You can go get a new job, you can get in a new friendship, you can get in a new relationship. And initially it all can be really kind of exciting. And, the ship card can be like, oh my gosh, I'm moving forward in life differently. Look, I quit that job. Look, I'm not dating that person. Look, I'm moving forward with someone new. I have this new beginning. And for a while, it can all maybe make everything feel different or better, like things have changed and you've changed. But if you really haven't changed and you're the same person that you were before, well, then all you did was go get a new job, a new friend, a new relationship. And then when they don't seem to really be any different, it's kind of like the buzz wears off, right? and they have their same issues. But some people don't think that, well, no, I don't have to do that work within myself. I don't have to change. If things aren't working out, I just need to go get a new job, a new friend, a new relationship. But part of moving forward in life is learning lessons in life. And the truth sets you free. Where do I need to grow and heal and mature myself and get more balanced? Am I tipped out of balance? Am I immature? Am I bossy? Am I controlling? Am I immature? Am I prideful, egotistical, whatever? Well, they could think, well, I think that's just unfair. It's like, well, you might, but other people who come to get in a relationship with you, you could harness all these energies differently. One person in their Gemini energy could be more inspired by the world or themselves. They think it's just unfair. They think other people should want to be in a relationship with them. Because normally Sagittarius energy, represented by the Knight of Wands, the Knight of Wands is going towards people, maybe trying to inspire them, but they also might be kind of immature and indulgent. We've all got lessons to learn in life. And if nobody thinks it's their responsibility to do this work within themselves to get more balanced, well, then we have two people that are kind of out of balance. I'm in fear, I'm in insecurity, I'm in lust, I'm in greed, I'm in addiction, I'm in codependency. And everybody could have a lot of lessons to learn. And, we've all been to a degree, at any age group of life that we're at, we have a way of viewing life and living life. And we're probably hanging out with people who view life the same way we do. And we all think it's just and fair. And, we're all at where we're at. In tarot, they kind of talk about it being at different timelines. It's kind of like, just like people are different ages, 15, 18, 21, 25, 35, 45. People can be older, but emotionally, they could be much more younger, and then some people who are younger are much more emotionally mature than people their age. And, you could have a group of 40-year-olds, and some are like 15 and 18-year-olds because they're petty and immature and act like immature people, you know? And so it's just to see the truth of where people are at, what drives and motivates them, what they think is just and fair, if they're more worldly focused, more self-focused, if they've worked through some of their own lack mentality and kind of letting the world dictate their worth and value in a way. Have they learned to get more balance within themselves and be more inspired to high vibe energies about being more independent? Independent of their more immature, shadowy nature, and maybe not, we can know all sorts of people in the world that we can work with and know in our community and socialize with, but am I going to get in a more involved relationship with them? No, because what I think is just and fair is different than what they think is just and fair, and kind of what they're motivated and inspired to indulge in is maybe things I don't get so riled up or fired up about like I could have when I was younger, I just have a different viewpoint in life. And then high vibe energy is just being more balanced within yourself. We've all been more immature and impulsive and caught up in things of the world. And, as some people learn lessons and grow up and mature themselves, they're kind of more balanced within themselves, not as likely to indulge themselves in poor behavior like they could have done when they were more immature. Some people are still indulging themselves periodically or quite frequently in their more immature nature, you know? So some people, I would say, are repeating old patterns because they haven't done this work within themselves to get more balance within themselves. So they're more tipped out of balance. And you can equally be out of balance as a loving person where you kind of is constantly trying to motivate and inspire other people to get more balanced. How about wish those people peace and love and joy, but I'm going to go find people in the world who are currently more balanced. So I can be in a relationship where there's equal give and take. And I can be loving and encouraging to them, and they in turn are loving and encouraging to me. And it's a more just and fair and balanced relationship versus being a person who's always trying to offer love and encouragement to others to get them to love and believe in themselves. And we can have them as friends, but if I'm going to try to move forward in life with people, I might want to be in relationship with people who've kind of learned some of the same lessons I've learned, are more balanced within themselves, have done some of this inner work within themselves. That it's just, you got to be balanced within yourself to view life in a more balanced way. Do I want some of these things of the world? Yes, but it's not the end all be all. Do I need all the money? Do I need all the power? Do I need it to be all about me? Is it all about my ego and image? Or do we all put in work and effort to have some stability and security and enjoy some of the finer things in life? And if I put in work and effort while also being just and fair and treating other people the way I like to be treated and being in loving and encouraging and supportive workplaces, friendships, and relationships, I'm generally pretty happy with my life. If in that environment some of these other things happen where I end up having more power or influence or money or status or whatever, okay. But the most important thing is that there's a balance, right? And for some people, it's like, no, I'm not inspired or motivated to be more balanced just because it really is just more about me, or it's just more about these things in the world are more important. And so sometimes, people did have to detach from some people. They were hoping that some other people would be inspired to kind of work through some of the things that consume them or have a stranglehold on them or manipulate them. And be inspired. I view the high honor card like the Six of Wands card, which is Leo energy. So we have all three of the fire signs out here. But the devil can be about moving forward in more shadowy Leo energy, which is our ego. And there's some people that really got some lessons to learn about, which the ego can just be their fear, their insecurity, their pride, their ego, their immature nature, their lack mentality, codependency. And until they get so sick and tired of it, that they finally take this inspired action, like, why don't I deserve more justice and fairness and balance? And if I'm the one being in shadowy energy, why do I think that more high vibe people in high vibe Leo energy, who are more authentic and loving and giving, why do I think that they would want to keep indulging me in my more immature, shadowy ways of being? Why do I have this philosophy of life? And it can be, you're either being authentic and just and fair and loving and encouraging to people, or you just try to create an illusion you're that type of person, but you're doing it for ulterior purposes and not really from love. Or it's all a facade and you're really just trying to manipulate people to get them to do what you want. And that is some people's way of operating in the world. I don't want to be more just and fair. I don't want to be more authentic. I don't want my more hopeful, believing nature to come out to play in the world. They get hurt. That can be my fear. And then because of that, they aren't being more authentic. If you're letting your ego nature run your life, that's like your shadow nature, your defensive nature. And then other people are being more authentic. And eventually people kind of feel left out in the cold in a more imbalanced relationship or a more mismatched relationship, because one is inspired to overcome their fears and self-limiting beliefs and past pain and heartbreak and things like that, to be more inspired by love. And the other people aren't inspired to deal with the things that manipulate them, that keep them from being in that energy. And in regular tarot, the devil card looks just like the lover's card, except that people are kind of chained and shackled, restricted, limited, oppressed, not free. High vibe Sagittarius is free to go live your life because you have wrapped your brain around these things that manipulate you, to get out of your defensiveness and your ego. That with these lessons that you've learned, and maybe having learned to listen to your intuition and love yourself and believe in yourself, to maintain balance within yourself, to no longer indulge poor behavior in yourself and others, and require other people to be more just and fair in their relationship with you. And then there's some people who are like, go away. I don't want to be in a relationship with you. I'll go, look, there's someone who feels left out in the cold. I'll go present myself as a just and fair person. And, some people like to play that role in people's life. And that's why you could have been drawn and attracted to certain people, because you did think they were a lot like you. They could have been kind of a loving and encouraging person to you, just like you're loving and encouraging to other people. But as time went by in the relationship, it's kind of like, well, I don't mind you changing and growing and healing and maturing yourself in some ways. And I like you to view me as a loving, encouraging person in your life. But if it ever gets to the point where they have to take action within themselves to deal with some of their fears or their insecurities or things that manipulate them. Oh well, no, that's not going to happen. So, and that's kind of the difference. High vibe people are loving and encouraging to other people because they want them to be free of those things, and then together they can move forward, both of you willing to be out of your ego and your defensive nature to go on this adventure together. And other people are like, well, no, I like to play that role in your life, but I kind of do like you being more in your fear and your insecurity and your pain and your heartbreak or your self-limiting beliefs, and you view me as kind of like, it's kind of like someone trying to take the place of your own, you having hope and faith and belief in yourself and your dreams or God, and making them like God in your life. So it's more about them kind of being indulged in a relationship, not really wanting people like, well, you can heal and grow and mature yourself so much, but I don't really want to do equal give and take with you. And that's where it can be, when there's a child depicted in the card, it can be that people like more codependent relationships. Well, I like being like the parent and you being like the child. I like being like the boss and you're like the employee, even in a friendship or relationship, I like you being more codependent. I like you kind of being in your fears and your insecurities. And I like seeming like the more just, fair, stable, grounded person. But you can do some work, but I really kind of want to indulge myself, that shadowy fire sign energy. I kind of really want to indulge myself more in this relationship, where it's kind of more about me. I think that's just and fair. And so you can get in relationships with people who seem like they are this loving, nurturing person, and a lot of ways they were a loving, nurturing person. But you kind of realize as time went by that it either could have been more for their ego and their image. You could have things about you that maybe you're attractive, maybe you're charming, maybe you have things about you that make it look like your dreams are going to come into reality. Again, attractive, smart, talented, resourceful, successful in a lot of ways, but you maybe just hadn't learned to love yourself, which I think that's also like high vibe Leo energy. We all have fears and insecurities and self-limiting beliefs that we need to overcome in our life to be, and to get more clear about what our truth is and our truth isn't, to be more authentically ourselves and be more balanced within ourselves and learn to temper our own fears and our insecurities and get out of our more codependent energy. And we can be in friendships and relationships with people where we've all had these lessons to learn. It's just that once some people could work through those things where they are just kind of not the same person that they were before. I've grown, I've healed, I've matured. Some things that used to get me caught up in my head or kind of were things that kind of I was really tempted by, that kind of drove my life off into the ditch or something. I've kind of healed from those types of things, and those things don't influence me the way they used to. I kind of overcame those things, so now I'm moving forward in life differently. Well, then there can be people in our life who haven't, and then sometimes some of those people are like, hey, you go do you, boo, and I'm going to go do me, and you tell them you do you, and I'm going to do me, and, we'll hang out sometime, but, because we can know all sorts of people that not everybody's got to live their life like you, and you don't got to live their life like them, and nobody's up in a bunch about it, right? We acknowledge the truth that not everybody's the same, that we have different things that we're kind of motivated and inspired by, that we think are just and fair. Doesn't mean we can't like people and be friends with them. Are we going to be in a more involved relationship with them if they're someone who we would have the potential to date? We might have back in the day, maybe now, no. But there with some friendships and relationships, it kind of does, we kind of could be just finding ourselves on different pages of life, and things we used to both like and enjoy doing together, maybe now not so much. And so then we're not spending as much time with them. And we kind of do want to go our different directions. And some people can be mad about it. Some people don't like it when other people heal or grow or mature themselves, or just want to not keep repeating an old pattern and kind of more inspired to go try new things or new hobbies or new activities. And with the devil card, some people can be mad about it. Some people can be think you think you're better than them, but it's just like, those are things that we deal with. Anyway, the high vibe people can be sad that some people have moved on ahead of them and went on their own new adventures. Some people in their life aren't moving forward with them in the way that they'd like to move forward. And then we can go through this period of feeling left out in the cold. And some people, if they realize something is kind of toxic and unhealthy, job, friendship, or relationship, those people are willing to go through a period of feeling left out in the cold. The Five of Pentacles lets go of the Four of Pentacles, a foundation that we had been holding on to. Again, job, friendship, or relationship. But something about it, there's no guarantee in life. When are people going to become, kind of start to drift off into the ditch of their life, and kind of get more caught up in things and ways of thinking or ways of feeling or ways of being that they kind of lost sight of the truth or love and kind of got more tipped out of balance. Well, we wish people peace and love, but I'm not going to stay in a situation where people are being shadowy to me. That's not love. And I'm not sure what it is that they could be working through, but I wish people peace and love and joy, but I might be keeping my distance from them until they work through those things that they need to work through. And then we have to realize sometimes some people, we kind of didn't realize we were kind of in a more mismatched relationship until we kind of did do some of this work within ourselves, and then we're kind of moving forward in life differently, and that's when we can find out that some people kind of turn their back to us because, well, now you've changed. It's like, well, everybody changes throughout their life. Why aren't we going and still enjoying life together and doing these things and being friends? And it's like, well, I don't like that you've changed. I liked it, and I'm going to go find someone else. Maybe I liked it when you did look to me and were more codependent on me. And now that you're not more codependent on me, I'm going to go find someone else who is more codependent on me. That is the relationship dynamic I like. And that can be really confusing. It's just like, well, I thought we were friends. I thought, and that's, we just have to see the truth of it. So then we have the Bear card, the Star card, the Unlocking, the Hammer, and the Snake card. And the reason that came out is because of the long road. Some of you were inspired to do this work. I look at the long road card as Virgo energy, where you do some of that inner work to look at some of those things that were hidden in the dark that made you fearful of moving forward in life differently, or believing in yourself, or hadn't learned previously to give yourself the things that you wish other people would have given you, but you're tired of letting the past manipulate you. And it's like, if I've dealt with some people in my life that weren't very giving or nurturing or loving or warm, or other people in the world who were toxic or abusive or whatever, I'm not going to let that stop me from getting the justice I deserve. And I'm going to wrap my brain around this game of life. And then the bear card in Taurus energy. Sometimes the bear card is kind of represented as being like mother energy, which can be giving ourselves the things that we wish other people would have given us. And then the bears hibernate, and Virgo also talks about taking time alone to work through those issues that. And Leo energy, also represented by the sun, is like shedding light and love on those things. That I just see the truth that people in my life were where they were at. Some of them were more just and fair and balanced and loving and supportive and encouraging. Some of them weren't. And people who would have worked more through some of their own issues to be more free, to be more giving and loving and just and fair were, and people who maybe hadn't done that work within themselves weren't. And I want to be someone who doesn't repeat some of those old patterns. I don't want to be hurtful and unkind and unjust and unfair and unloving to people because of my own issues that I've dealt with. So I'm inspired to get more balance within myself, wrap my brain around this game of life, and I am going to put in that work and effort to put things in perspective is how I view the star card of Aquarius energy. I'm going to look at life from a bigger perspective and put things in perspective and maybe try to see things from other people's perspective. We're all just these human beings that have all grown up, and we've all went through our own experiences. And, we could have known people in our life when we were kids and they were adults, and maybe they didn't act so well. Well, did they ever do this work within themselves, to kind of being inspired to work through the things that kind of emotionally manipulated them? The snake card says Scorpio on it, but I also view the snake card as Aquarius energy. We've all had dreams, and we've all wanted these things that we wanted in the world, and we all could have put in work and effort to have those things work out the way we wanted, to be just and fair, and we've all been deceived and manipulated. And Scorpio is emotional water sign, which can talk about, at a deep emotional level. And then it's confusing, and then we get all caught up in our head. That could be Aquarius energy of being caught up in your head. And Gemini energy is represented by the 8 and the 9 and the 10 of swords. I kind of view this card as the 7 of swords. And then because we went on these adventures and we maybe were kind of more bold and brave and confident, and maybe in our Aries energy we took a leap of faith, and then it didn't work out the way we wanted. Well, are we going to give up our dreams because it didn't work out the way we wanted? And we could have been heartbroken because, again, the Devil's card looks just like the Lover's card. Are we going to keep chained to the fact that we had love for someone and it didn't move forward victoriously and successfully the way we wanted? Or are we going to see that everybody is dealing with their own issues, and if they were able to move forward in a more just and fair and stable and grounded, loving way, they probably would have. And there too, we got lessons to learn. I kind of look at fire sign energy about listening to our intuition, and we have free will. There's a lot of things we're fired up in the world that we want to go, that we're attracted to, that we want to go indulge in. And, sometimes we ignored our intuition, and our intuition was given to us as a gift to help us navigate in this world, because people can present themselves as being more just and fair and stable and grounded and loving and nurturing than they really are. And, emotionally, they could have ulterior purposes, and we can always hope that other people will change, but sometimes some people have their issues that manipulate them, and they don't want to do this work to work through those issues. So sometimes, because those people know that you love them, they choose to turn their back on you and them doing this work within themselves, hoping because you love them and basically trying to manipulate you because of the love that you have for them and this dream you wanted to have come into reality. That's like Aquarius energy, you know, and Aries energy is I'm taking action to try to bring a dream into reality, and I've put in this work and effort to bring this dream into reality, and for a long time it can seem like everything, we're all on the same page. And then it can get to a point where it does come down to a core foundational truth in people's Gemini energy about what their truth really is. And that can be where some people, it's like, you know, it was okay to keep moving forward in this relationship so long as I was able to be defensive to being more authentically myself and letting my more hopeful, believing inner child out to play in the world. But if I start to get to feel like I'm entering the danger zone, because for some people, their truth in their Gemini energy is, I'm not doing love. I will be in a relationship with people. I will be happy to be in a relationship and put in work and effort to a degree in a relationship. I will be just and fair to a degree in a relationship. But I'm kind of in my more shadowy fire sign energy, kind of indulging myself in this relationship. So long as, you know, it's working out for me and it's good for my ego and my image and my status, the other people are treating me in a just and fair manner, so long as kind of in a more shadowy energy, that we keep it more about being in the relationship because of this worldly dream. We want to be in a relationship. I like you, you like me. It's good for our status and our image and our stability and our security and all those things. Let's keep focused on that. But the other people in their Gemini energy was like, well, I have my fears and insecurities too, and I want these things of the world too, and I appreciate being in a relationship with people who are working together with me and all these things that kind of come with it. But I'm kind of wondering if our dream, what we were taking action towards and why we were taking action towards it, what ultimately my end goal dream of how I envisioned, that's like Aries energy, how I envisioned the dream coming into reality, and in my Virgo nature of why I was investing time, energy, and effort, it wasn't because of more of these things of the world and ego and image and money and materialism. I really had a dream emotionally of a relationship growing and maturing over time and becoming more authentic, and, you know, just the process that it grows and matures itself over time. And we all kind of do this work within ourselves to free ourselves from those things that manipulate us to be in a more authentic, deep, meaningful relationship, which also is Scorpio energy and high vibe. And then we can move forward in those relationships and we kind of realize that the way they envisioned it and why they were kind of putting more work and effort and what drives and motivates them is they can really like the relationship, but to look at life from a higher perspective, put these things in perspective, and have more hope and faith and belief in love, and overcome my like defensiveness to being more authentically myself and let my more hopeful, believing, loving nature out to play in the world? No, that's where I draw the line. Because the whole thing is, in Gemini energy, representing 8, 9, and 10 of swords, that's completing a cycle. And when you learn the lessons you were meant to learn from a certain phase of life, you have a new beginning. You work through all the mental conflict of the sword energy, my pain, my heartbreak, where I need to heal, where I have mental conflict. What is my truth? What is your truth? We kind of seem to be on the same page. Let's move forward together. That's the 7 of swords. But then we can move forward in those relationships, and emotionally, we kind of have different expectations. One person was like, I think this is great. Let's keep moving forward like this. I'm aligned with my more defensive nature, or my more worldly nature, or more about my self-protective nature, or me. And you're doing this work within yourself to keep being a more loving, nurturing, supportive person. This works for me. Of course it works for them. It's just like being in a... They don't have to have had these shadowy ways of being, but maybe they kind of just let their more egoic nature run their life, where that can be their emotionally defensive nature. So you're like in a relationship with someone who lets their more egoic defensive nature run their life. So you're like in a relationship with their emotionally cardboard cutout person instead of their more authentic person. So it can never be a more deep, meaningful relationship. And you don't want to keep moving forward in a relationship like that. I had a dream that we were both going to do this work to grow and heal and mature ourselves, to be more authentic with each other as time went by, that it would become a more deep, meaningful relationship of my dreams. And the other person's like, no, I might use my emotions and my words and my charm and my looks and my sexuality and my money and all those things kind of in a more manipulative way. And I think it's almost just like that. Like, this acts like love, it quacks like love, it talks like love. But emotionally, it can feel more superficial and shallow, and like it's not a deep, meaningful relationship. And some people kind of realize, if I keep moving forward in this, or if it's a situation where people are being bossy or controlling and stubborn and deceptive and manipulative, whether it's a workplace, friendship, or relationship, some people are like, I don't want to keep moving forward in this. I might be tempted in my worldly nature because there's a lot of things about it. I wanted it to work out the way I wanted it to work out, but it's not working out the way I wanted it to work out. If I feel someone isn't being truthful and honest and authentic and just and fair and motivated and inspired by love, why are they in it? And it's all these kind of other reasons that I talked about. Well, it works for them. It's good for their ego and their image. You weren't requiring them to be more authentic in the beginning. Well, you changed. They didn't change. They could equally be as upset with you as you could be upset with them. But the whole thing is, we could have emotionally had different expectations. And we didn't know that. They thought you were kind of more on the same page as them. You thought they were more on the same page as you. But you could have kind of realized that and maybe you didn't even realize it, because again, we come into contact with all these different people to help us get more clear about our truth. And if you're kind of naturally kind of inspired to periodically look through some of your issues, you just assume other people kind of look through some of their issues periodically to work through those things to keep moving forward in a relationship. And everybody could have done that until they would have to deal with some of these issues that they don't want to deal with, or that they were hiding and they might not want to see the truth of. So eventually you can kind of realize that maybe at a core foundational level in your Gemini energy, that emotionally you kind of harness these energies differently. And they could have not wanted to see that truth about themselves. And shadowy energy can keep wanting to be in denial. No, no, no. I'm not bossy. I'm not more about myself. I'm not more materialistic. And they keep telling themselves that's not what drives and motivates them, until they kind of could get in a relationship with people who challenge them in their philosophy of life to deal with the truth of it, and then they don't like it. So let's go look at what those cards are. So in between we have the Tower card, which is kind of seeing the truth of something in our foundation of what we expected and how we expected probably things to move forward and go in our life, right? And over here we have the mature woman, which again, the feminines just talk about how we think and feel. You know, if we're willing to, all of us, male and female, willing to emotionally grow and mature ourselves, and this looks like a younger feminine figure, so, you know, we've all had our more emotionally immature ways of viewing life and relationships. And to a degree, some people more so than others at different times in our life have been looking for someone to kind of play that role in our life. And we all could have gotten in relationships feeling more codependent because we hadn't learned to take over that role within ourselves, to be inspired instead of looking outside of ourselves to other people in the world and things of the world to make us feel better or more stable or more grounded or more abundant. You know, there comes a time in our life that kind of forces us to maybe kind of do some of this work within ourselves, that I've got to learn to feel more balanced and stable just within myself. You know, I don't want to keep in more codependent energy, because when I'm in more codependent energy, there's other people who are looking for people who are in more codependent energy, who want to play that role in my life. But then they never want me to free myself from those things that manipulate me, because they like a more imbalanced relationship. And then if I do that work within myself to become a more emotionally mature person who's accepted that gift of love to be a good, like, parental loving person to my own inner child nature, well, then they don't want to be in a relationship with me anymore. So I've got to see the truth of it. If I already know, I don't want to repeat that pattern again because it doesn't work out the way I want it. Well, then I choose to be this more loving, supportive, balanced, encouraging person who believes in my dreams. And now I'm looking for someone who's in that type of energy. I already did the other way where I was in more codependent energy, and that didn't work out. But the whole process, the Stork card talks about being inspired to give birth to something new and pick up anchor in things and ways of viewing life that you were emotionally anchored in, and the way you used to view life. And it's like, I don't view life like that anymore with the Tower card. You know, again, the world tells us, oh, make your life about this and do this and act like this and, you know, do these things and you'll be happy. It's like, I feel like I played, you know, I did what I thought I was told was the way that would make me happy, and it didn't work out. And I think, you know, I myself personally and other people in the world could have just had this more codependent viewpoint in life, because aren't we a lot when we're younger, we're looking for someone to be in a relationship with. We have this dream and but we don't realize that, I don't know, it might be more about first kind of doing this work within ourself, because Virgo talks about doing this work within yourself to love and believe in yourself and believe in your dreams. And then maybe standing up for yourself and standing up for your truth and not indulging poor behavior in yourself and others, listening to your intuition. But those are all part of learning these lessons, you know. I mean, we all could have had those aspirations too when we were young, and then we kind of get caught up in these relationships, and oh my gosh, it's devastating, and oh my gosh, that didn't work out, and now I'm in this shadowy energy, or I'm sad, or whatever. Well, if we're willing to look at life as an adventure, that all these different people come in our life to try to, the ultimate goal is to try to get us to see the truth. Gemini energies about the truth. Virgo energy, Leo energy is all about the truth. Do you love and believe in yourself? Are you willing to play that role in your own life? Are you willing to align with your high vibe Gemini energy? You can align with your harsh, critical inner voice, rejecting, belittling, berating self if you want. Other people would be glad to join in the chorus. Or you can say, you know what, I got free will, and I'm going to learn to love myself, and I'm going to do this inner work to appreciate myself, or grow or heal and mature myself in areas I think I need to grow and heal and mature myself. And I'm going to keep focused on the bigger picture, not get caught up in my fear and my insecurities or codependency, and believe that just like shadowy, our own shadow nature and other shadowy people in the world want to stop us from moving forward victoriously, our own shadow nature doesn't want us to align with our high vibe nature. And then there's people in the world who don't want us to align with our high vibe nature, because then we won't indulge it. And our shadow nature wants to run our life, and shadowy people in our life want us to indulge them. And it's like, I'm going to stand up for what's just and fair. And I'm inspired to keep believing in my dreams. And just because some people in my life or in the world weren't just and fair or loving and nurturing, that's where they're at. I can only take responsibility for how I contributed to relationships not working out. High vibe Leo, I offer myself love and compassion and forgiveness for being a fallible human being. And I'm going to learn the lessons, and I'm going to grow up and mature myself. And I'm going to offer love and compassion to the other people in my life who weren't those kind of people and were a fallible human being themselves. And the people in my life who show me they're still in that kind of energy, I'm going to keep my distance from them. And the people I meet that are like that, I'm going to keep my distance. Can I treat everybody in a just and fair, respectful, encouraging manner? Yes. And then I'm going to kind of keep going on my way. And I'm not going to let shadowy energy and shadowy people deceive and manipulate me. Apparently, we weren't on the same page. They could have wanted to giving birth to keep doing things the way they've been doing it, and they didn't want to align with their more hopeful, believing, loving nature, or heal or grow and mature themselves. Okay. Well, my dream can only come into reality with people who are on that page. So, to each their own. I wish you peace and love, but I'm moving on. And I'm going to quit waiting for other people to change. I'm going to quit getting more involved in relationships with people, or dating them, or marrying them, if they're still in that more shadowy energy. I want to be in relationships with people who have accepted this gift, that we have the free will to love ourselves and free ourselves from the past and our more immature, lustful, greedy nature, and people who are unkind or unjust or unfair, and keep moving on. And then we have the Four of Wands over here, the House card, which says Taurus, but it also, the Four of Wands in Tarot is Aries energy. I want to be in relationships with people whose philosophy of life, that's like Taurus energy, is inspired, high vibe Leo, in Gemini energy of truth and love. And the people who aren't, they can go get in a relationship with someone else. And I'm going to keep moving on, being inspired in my foundation. And then kind of from the Six of Wands down to the Four of Wands, letting go of that Two of Wands dream. And I'm going to move forward aligned with my own loving nature. And you could look at the marriage card as like a Two of Cups. Moving forward with people in the world who are aligned with being inspired by truth and love and justice and fairness and learning lessons in life and freeing themselves from their more immature, egoic, defensive nature. I want to go on this adventure. I'm an emotionally complex human being. I want to do deep, meaningful relationships. I want to do the highs and the lows. And some people, that is like entering the danger zone. No way am I going over there. That's too confusing. I get hurt. I'm going to not get in a more deep, meaningful relationship. I might get married, so long as those people, I'll go find someone else who's willing to wait for me to change. Another person who might date me or marry me or employ me who keeps hoping I'll change one day. And until they see the truth that I am the way I am because that's how I view life. And how many of us growing up in our life, like, oh, look at that person. And, you know, and again, because we kind of get taught, you know, I mean, if anything can change people, it is because it's the highest energy of all, being loving and encouraging, truthful, authentic. But you can be those things and not get in a more involved relationship with them. You stay in the friend zone. But of course, we didn't know that. So we went on those adventures and then we found out, oh, these people have no intention because that's not their truth. And I have to realize that just because I might be motivated and inspired to, by love, and to free myself from things that manipulate me and heal and grow and mature myself, there's other people who's like, why the hell would I do that? That takes work and effort. I'm just going to go indulge in these things in the world, try to manipulate people to get them to do what I want. I think I can get those things and I don't have to do that. Well, I think those people, as they keep pursuing those things, it depends on what they want. If they think, I can have what these people have, peace, that's like Libra card being in a sense of peace and balance, inspired, mature, authentically being a nurturing, loving person in people's life. I'll just create the illusion that I'm at that, like the devil trying to create the illusion, you know, that all these things of the world will make you happy. You should move forward with me in a relationship. If they want just money and status and image because their truth is they've given up on their dreams, well, they can get in those type of relationships, and if that's what makes them happy, then that's what makes them happy. It's just other people are like, yeah, this isn't enough. It's about balance. I will give up some of these things of the world in order to have more deep, meaningful, authentic, emotionally mature workplace, friendship, relationship. And the other people, they would give up those things in order to have more of the status, the image, or the power, or have it be more about them. So, what's coming up? For people who harness some high vibe Gemini energy that they might not see coming up. You know, and for some people it is like to get people in a relationship, get them to love them. Oh, well, now that I think these people love me, now I think I can go do this poor behavior and I can go indulge in this stuff because I think they're like trapped because they love me. It kind of reminds me of this book and movie, When Rabbit Howls, about these two little girls. That would be like two emotional people, male or, in tarot you could, I do this with movies all the time, get the other meaning from it, but it's using the love that, if the devil can tempt someone to be in shadowy energy, it's like the devil trying to use the love that you have for someone to keep you trapped and imprisoned too. It's a twofer. God wants you to wish those people peace. High vibe energy is being a good leader in the world. Go live your life. Wish them peace. Love is the answer. Keep moving forward. Hope that people free themselves from what manipulates them. In the meantime, move on with your life and enjoying your life. And you'll see that if love isn't what motivates and drives these people anyway, it's kind of seeing the truth of what does drive and motivate them, and you realize that you're happy you moved on anyway. And otherwise, the devil wants to stop people from their destiny and living the life they were meant to live. So the devil will prey on everybody to try to get somebody manipulated, and that's just negative life force energy in the world. We call it God and devil, however you want to wrap your brain around it. Let me snag this person, because then I'll get that person too. So be a good leader. Show how this is how I moved on, even to those people. They see you moving on. It could be a tower moment for them. How are they doing that? I have these things or people that manipulate me, and I know that person had love for me, and that person's still moving on. Why am I not able to move on? Why do I let these people and things manipulate and control me? And that could be the thing that gets them to start doing that work within themselves to figure out why they do what they do. Why do I keep repeating old patterns? Why do I keep driving my life off into the ditch? Why do I keep indulging people in poor behavior in myself, when there's other people who I know wanted to hang out with me and have this dream come in? Why'd I turn my back on that? And the longer they don't do it, the more you get to a place of peace and balance within yourself. I kind of do see that there was maybe more differences than I had even realized. And even if they do free themselves from it, from some things, it's like, I know there was a lot more things there that I don't need to point out, but if you don't know them, then I know we're still not on the same page, and I still wish you peace, and I'm still moving on. We have the Ten of Pentacles, and then we have 3 cards not showing themselves. This is what's coming up for the high vibe people that they might not see coming. As you do this work within yourself, the Page of Pentacles can be about being a student of life, and it can represent all 3 of the earth sign energies of your Taurus, Virgo, and Capricorn energy. And some people maybe more in their Capricorn energy, they just still, which can just represent these things of the world and within themselves that manipulate them. As you're willing to be a student of life and put in this work and effort in Virgo energy to get to the truth, you're able to move forward in life and be independent of some old foundations. And you cut some people out of your life that harness this energy in a more shadowy way because you quit aligning with those energies to some degree in your own more worldly, shadowy nature. The Death, the Six of Cups, and the Six of Swords. You are no longer willing to let go of deep, meaningful relationships aligned with your truth. And some of the other people were, in order to move forward in more emotionally shallow, superficial relationships more caught up in the world. And it's like, I'm not going to stay in a more superficial relationship because it looks good by worldly standards. If that's the kind of relationship and what drives and motivates you is just to look like a shining star in the world in your ego or your image, or you like being in more emotionally shallow, superficial relationships, if that's what makes you feel stable and grounded within yourself, then that's where you are. I see the truth of it, but that's not my truth. And I wish you peace, and I'm moving on. And that's what some people don't know about you. There's some people in your world who could think you're still stuck and that they're still manipulating you. They're not going to do life the way you want it. They're going to keep doing this, and they're sure one day you'll maybe want to come be in a relationship with them. And that's with these cards not showing themselves. They don't realize, they think you're still in maybe more codependent energy. And what they don't realize is you've emotionally detached and made peace with the past. You see through the emotional confusion and illusion, and you've moved on. It's just some of those people don't know it. And as you do move forward in these new jobs, friendships, and relationships, that's when it'll probably be a tower moment for them. It's like, what? They're not still waiting for me to change. I was doing this and this and this, thinking they were stuck. And when I was done doing this and this, I'd go back and get in a relationship with them. And it's like, yes. And while you were doing this and this and this, the other people did this inner work to free themselves from this foundation, love themselves, emotionally grow and mature themselves. And they're not interested in being in a relationship with those people anymore. And when those people see it, and some of those people right now could kind of be having the tower moment that they don't control you, they didn't manipulate you, you're not going to let someone who tries to use the love that you have for them to manipulate them. If they want to come forward with you, they have to get out of being in their ego, being full of themselves, more aligned with their self-indulgent, stubborn, materialistic nature, and be a student of life. And if they're not willing to do that and be just and fair and have more hope and faith and belief and love, then they can go enjoy themselves with someone else. You're moving on. So what's coming up for people who harness a more worldly, shadowy Gemini energy that they might not see coming? This card had flipped itself, and then this card came out not showing itself. And the reason is because of the Knight of Cups. Some people are caught up in the illusion of the world, and they love the world, and that's what they want to go emotionally invest in and what's more important to them. And they could be people who put an end to believing in their dreams and kind of ignoring their intuition. You know, shadowy energy of Aries and Libra can be like, I'm the boss. I don't have to listen to my intuition. I don't care if my intuition is telling me I'm being bossy or controlling or prideful or egotistical or immature. That's what I want to be, and I'm sure it'll work out just fine for me. And I might think I'm a shining star in the world, and there's these other people that would want to be in a relationship with me anyway. Well, when people keep seeing people, there might be people, the devil can mean people are attracted to people, but as people keep seeing people maybe be these kind of immature players who keep being more about themselves, kind of indulging themselves in relationships, like I'm willing to bring a dream into reality, and then it's like, psych, no, I'm not. And you can go, oh, now you really want me to put in work and effort and be more, bring justice to the situation? No. You can go, I'll go find someone else to indulge myself in. There could be other people who decide not to invest in them either. And the world can be about learning lessons. You know, you can kind of watch and observe people and how they live their life. And it's like, yeah, I don't think you are who you say you are. You don't act, you don't walk the talk. High vibe Taurus, we've talked about Taurus a couple times. High vibe Taurus is people who walk the talk. Shadowy Taurus is people who try to present themselves maybe as this pillar of society and this stable, grounded, emotionally mature person that you should get in a relationship with. But that's not who they are. That's just who they try to present themselves to be. And as they keep not having hope and faith and belief in love and maybe offering people love, other people move on because they just kind of want to indulge themselves in a relationship, male or female. And they could have some high vibe people in their life now that wanted to be in a relationship with them, but they see it's not going to happen because the other person is unwilling to choose love. And then we have this card not showing itself, which is the Ten of Swords. People get done feeling backstabbed and betrayed in relationships with these people. And the Ten of Swords is Gemini energy. It takes time to learn lessons in life, and you have to be motivated and inspired to even want to look at those things you keep hidden in the dark or see the truth of those things that manipulate you. And some people see the truth that there's some people who refuse to get out of their illusions, out of their ego, out of their immature nature, out of being deceptive or manipulative. And other people are done. I'm not going to keep staying someplace where I feel backstabbed and betrayed. I did work through it all, and I did complete the cycle, and I'm moving on. I have learned the lesson I needed to learn. It is time to go. And I have wrapped my brain around all this and come to peace about it. I wish you peace. I'm moving on. And then the shadowy person's like, oh shit. I didn't think that person would ever love and believe in themselves. I thought for sure I could manipulate and control them. Damn. Oh look, there's someone who feels left out in the cold. They'll be the next person I try to manipulate. And that person will move forward with them. So it's kind of like God uses shadowy people to help other people decide what their truth is. You can stay in this if you want. By worldly standards, it would probably look pretty successful and victorious. But it's restrictive, oppressing, confining, limiting, imprisoning, shallow, superficial. You can align with the world. Devil kind of represents the world. Or you can get out of your illusions, offer yourself some love to be more independent and listen to your intuition and have hope and faith and belief in your dreams, and then I will work with you. The more stable, abundant foundation of hope and faith and inspiration that exists in the world will work with you to help you have a new beginning. But you have to detach from these illusions that everybody else is motivated by love, because they're not. So there you go, Gemini. I wish you peace, love, and joy, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.